All right, it is Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. This is the Lions Fan Cave chat. I have a few subjects to go over. I have my buddy Dan Leonard with me, and I'm guessing by the first two comments it says Facebook user that's Greg Rice. How you doing there, buddy? And Mark Mallet comes in and says Super Bowl or bust. Yeah, I'm in that boat too. Nice to see we got 7 jumping in to talk about it right away. I want to get into these topics with y'all. Just trying to get to the description stuff. So I got my topics in front of me. I'm not fully prepared tonight, guys. Sorry, pardon the. All right, the Lions have hired Steven Heiden, the tight ends coach, who is being groomed as assistant head coach for the Cardinals. And I think it's actually a good hire because if anything happens with Ben Johnson, we have somebody to step in as OC. What do you think, Dan Leonard?
It's kind of hard for me to get behind anything that had anything to ever do with the Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury. But only time's going to tell on that, man. Because did they really use a tight end at all out there before they traded for Zach Ertz? Not really.
They tried. That tight end sucked. Keegan Eckert says, Leonard.
What's up,
Better
Keegan?
than Larry and Impractical Jokers. He goes, doing great, bro. Ask Dan Leonard if we can grab Adoree Jackson for a 6th rounder.
You know what? That would actually help us save like $19 million in cap. But at the same time, cornerback's one of our biggest needs, so it doesn't really help us at all.
Right.
We'll take a $4 million hit next year and a $2 million and some change the year after that.
Right. And he actually just hit on my second subject tonight. Lions added 11-year veteran Dré Bly as the cornerbacks coach, and he's very excited to be here. I think that's great.
Where was he before this?
He was running his own semi-pro football league out in the Maryland, Virginia area. It was literally called the Dré Bly League. It was an arena 7-on-7 league. Speaking of which, that was the same league that my brother played in back in 2010 and 11 as a 29-year-old safety. He had 6 interceptions 2 years in a row, and they won the championship 2 years in a row.
Nice.
And then he got transferred to San Diego, and his football career was done because he decided to play a pickup game of softball and blow out his ACL.
But you can't be playing pickup games.
5'9", ran a 4.4 40 and had a 48-inch vertical leap. He was Spud Webb. He could dunk. I'm just saying. And our cap space right now, prior to the cap going up, it was 17.8. The cap went up by 16.8. So that means we now have $34.6 million without making a cut or restructure.
Yep.
So it's actually looking pretty good. That means half of that immediately goes for signing the draft picks that we get, because we have 8 of them, with 2 of them being first rounders and 2 being second rounders. So that's up $1 million from last year's.
Yep. As of right now, my Giants got $54 million, but 2 players can eat up most of that.
It was $54 million before it increased. 16.8 gets you almost to $73 million.
I believe we were actually at like the 40 range, like 38-40 range before the increase. We had the third.
They were talking about it in ESPN. They said you guys are going to have close to $75 million.
Maybe, but then you got to think you're going to re-sign Barkley, right? Which I think is stupid. I think you hit him with a franchise tag at $10 million and say, "Suck it, prove it this year." But Jones is going to want 30 plus a year.
And sayonara to Deuce Staley. I'm sad to see him go. But right now, the front runner out of the three guys looking at is Kevin Smith, former Lions running back. Patty Grimes says, greetings from Kentucky on my way to Florida. I hope you're stopped for the night and not watching on the road. And if you're watching on the road, just plug it into the radio and have it through the speakers because I don't want your phone driving off the road.
I have a question on this. What is Dan Campbell's fascination with hiring all the ex-players?
Well, ex-players seem to relate to players better as assistants. So I see that making sense.
I guess.
And James Burgess says, I liked having the Deuce Coop in the house, but family does matter. Yep, Nixon's name has been tossed around too. But the front runner right now is Kevin Smith.
Now, let me ask you this. With Deuce going to the Panthers, did they say what position he was taking there?
He is the offensive coordinator.
So you're getting the draft picks back from him
then? Jameson Hennessy says, hell yeah, Dré Bly. Richard Head says, hello all. He goes, I think we are all wondering about the big questions this offseason. Are the Giants going to extend Kenny G, Leonard?
No, we're cutting his ass. They already said they're not keeping him.
He goes, and Patty Grimes said he just stopped for the night. And Facebook user asked me, you think Chauncey Grander Johnson is a good option? He's a good player. He's done well for Philadelphia. The only thing I don't like is that his market value is over $14 million. So you're looking at probably a 4 or 5 year, $75 million signing. And we really don't have the cap space to do something that flashy. And I don't think we're going to go for someone like Daron Payne either. I actually think it makes more sense to go for a second tier contract guy, like at 28, 29 years old, to be the vet leader, not somebody who's 33 and a bump on the log like Michael Brockers, but maybe like Sheldon Rankins.
Daron Payne would be pretty awesome, though.
Daron Payne would be awesome, but you're talking about a guy that's going to command $20 million a year.
Okay, I'm fine with that, honestly. If he's going to actually make the difference and be that force in the middle you need.
Yeah, but at $34 million, and you'd have to cut the 4 cuts we made would have to cover his salary. And Facebook user says Sheldon Rankings, great name, Jeremy, solid vet.
Well, technically though, even though
I know cap
million,
is fluid.
Cap is fluid, and next year there's a ton of cap space.
Right. Next year it does the bigger jump. I think it's supposed to go up anywhere from 25 to 50 million, possibly, because that's when the money from the Amazon deal hits.
Yep. Plus, on top of that, you already will have more cap space just with contracts coming off the books and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, right now it's we went 2 years ago when we were looking at the 2024 season. It was saying something like 120 million. It's down below that. It's closer to 94.
Mm-hmm.
But that's with Goff on the books.
Man, that guy's awful.
He is not.
And you notice I don't say awful anymore. It's golful because I like the way it sounds. As long as we have a 7
As long as we have the savvy vet for the team to rally around, I won't forget the dejected look our defense had when the camera panned to them in the Miami game. We needed a vet for them to rally around. Signed Josh Jacobs, draft Darnell Wright. Enough said. Josh Jacobs is going to be another one of those $20 million running backs. I say draft our next running back. Besides, this is actually Swift's contract year coming up. If we don't get rid of him and he plays well, let him walk and get the comp picks.
I really wouldn't mind spending on Josh Jacobs, so I think he's solid what you're going to get, and you know what you're going to get with him. Byron Murphy, my bad. Hit Minnesota free agents. Byron Murphy, the cornerback?
Yeah, out of Arizona. I like him. He was the nickel corner for a couple of years. I like Eric Gray in the third round better out of Oklahoma. He's more of an all-around back. Jahmyr Gibbs had some great plays, but he's not a good receiver out of the backfield. He also doesn't like the pass block. Eric Gray pass blocks. He chips and gets out for the safety valve. He actually runs decent routes and has really good hands. And he's a quick guy with size. I think he's something like 6'1" and 220. That's the guy I'm really high on. And if you want pure speed out of the draft, you go for Keaton Mitchell out of Coastal Carolina. That's your pure speed lightning back. Yeah, or Roshan Johnson in the 5th or 6th.
You know what? It is his contract year, so you think that he's going to perform better. But he's Glass Joe. Can you really perform that without having Jamal Williams there?
Wait, Romeo Okwara was Glass Joe for us until his contract year. Showed out, got 10 sacks. And then what happened? Been Glass Joe ever since.
Exactly. But now if you guys lose Williams and Swift is going to actually be a workhorse back, he'll last 6 games tops.
Yeah, he's not a workhorse back. Anytime he touches the ball more than 16 times, he gets injured.
Yeah.
The way we used him there towards the end of the season when he had his decent games, it was 10 carries, 5 receptions. That was perfect.
I like that freaking little distribution there.
There's a chance we could keep Anzalone. He said he'd play here for less money, and that's going to make Matt Dunstall's hairs stand up on his arms and go, let's see what I can come up with this contract. If we lost Williams, I'm all in for Tony Pollard even coming off the injury. There's a chance he may not even be able to play this season with the way his leg broke. There's quite a couple thumpers in the draft. If we lose Jamal, I hope we can keep Jamal for not cap breaking money. His market value is $10 million. Sport Track put out an article saying that he could possibly get 2 years, $8.4 million, which would be $3 million plus a bunch of incentives in year 1 and 5.4 in the next year. And if he's willing to do that, I'm all in because he is going to be 28 coming up. I don't want to sign him past 30. That's just my personal opinion. That seems to be where everybody just sort of goes, unless your name is Adrian Peterson.
He was built different.
I wouldn't go for any running backs in free agency unless they're on a 1-year prove-it deal. I really wouldn't. The ones that are out there are usually looking for a bag. What defensive vet would I go after in free agency? The defensive vets, Sheldon Rankins, Byron Murphy. Those are my top 2 targets. Both of them are going to command less than a $10 million contract. My name is Adrian Peterson. He goes, oh, wait, that was the dream I had. Oh, I think Zach Charbonneau is legit, but he's a one-trick pony. He's just a runner. He's a workhorse back. He's not a receiver. He has more drops than receptions, but he is electric when he has the ball in his hands running. I agree with that. He's a thumper. He goes he will run up the center and knock guys over. And he also is shifty, elusive. He's not a one-cut back like Swift. He has good speed, not elite. That's where I'm at on him. Next up is, for the first time since 1971, the Detroit Lions have 4 offensive people in the Pro Bowl. And only the second QB in the last 50 years. We have Frank Ragnow, who was actually voted in first. And then we had Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown added on Monday. Kudos to Amon-Ra for getting into the Pro Bowl. Even though it was as an alternate, don't care. Because guess what? The only other QB that made it for the Lions was an alternate too, and that was Matthew fucking Stafford. So Jared Goff gets in. Thoughts on us meeting Hooker? I think it's due diligence. I don't think Hooker's going to be that good. And Bijan's backup is Roschon Johnson. He's expected to be a day 3 pick, 5th round or later. I would take him in a heartbeat. The kid is one
career fumble
since his sophomore year of high school.
And he's a fucking monster.
Yeah, he's like 6'2", 230
He's Brandon Jacobs with better hands.
Right. And he does receive out of the backfield. Now, granted, he's not going to be running routes like Swift or anything like that, but he can bowl people over. Unlike Derrick Henry, who can't catch a cold.
Derrick Henry doesn't have to catch.
I know. But, I mean, he runs like he's that type of runner with hands. Yeah,
he would probably be a day 1 or day 2 pick if he didn't back that dude up. If he would have went to a different school.
Okay. Outside of knowing we're probably going to have to either re-sign Jamal or draft somebody, because Swift is here another year, whether we like it or not. He is, unless they trade him away. But there is a little bit of cap hit money, and I don't think they want to screw up 2024's cap with us having the draft in Detroit as well. So that being said, what are our biggest needs offensively that you can think of? Mine off the top of my head, running back, big contested catch guy with speed, and a right guard. When I say a big, I'm talking somebody 6'3" or taller.
Okay.
I'm not talking Amon-Ra, because Amon-Ra is only 6'1". Quintus Cephas is 6'2", but I think he'll be gone. If I was Shark is 6'4", but he's all speed and some contested catch. And we really didn't see a lot. I think we've seen enough to be able to re-sign him on the cheap if he wanted to. But I don't know. And Josh Reynolds, he kind of disappeared halfway through the season. But Amon-Ra and Jameson, for the couple of plays they used him, he did well. I'm happy with what I saw out of him. It's just, you couldn't expect a lot when he didn't have a preseason, didn't have an offseason, and didn't play 2/3 of the season. I don't know what anybody he said. And yep, Hatter's house. That's it. Who do I want in the draft? If for wide receiver, I would like him in the 5th round. It's Bryce Ford Wheaton out of Virginia. He was number 0 for their team. Look him up. The kid is big. He's a good guy. Mm-hmm. And he had a garbage QB thrown to him. And I think he had 2 drops the entire season for Virginia and over 1,000 yards receiving. And I think it was 7 touchdowns, which is pretty good when you got a garbage QB. James Burgess, offense, center guard, and I mean a good one with tall wide receiver for sure, with ups, backup swing tackle, and both a vet and a rookie backup QB. Here's the problem with right guard. There's 3 left guards that are good, and other than Osiris Torrance out of Florida, I think it is, none of them are earlier than a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, but that kid out of Florida is a monster.
Right. I'd almost consider taking him at 18 just so someone else don't get him. Uh-huh. That's how good he is.
Or grab that kid from Ohio State to tackle and move him to guard.
Yeah, but
the one they call Big Thanos.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm not Nor can I at this point because I'm not going to look at the draft stuff right in front of me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to pull it up, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That kid from Florida, Torrance, looks good. If we got to draft a right guard, good call, Jeremy. You said it as I was typing it. Other than that, there's a guy that I like out of Mississippi State. I've talked about him quite a bit. He's 6'5". He's 335 pounds. He has an 87.5-inch wingspan. His name is Neil Brokers, Broekers. The kid started out as a fullback in high school, moved to D-line, and then back to O-line. So there's that whole versatility thing that Brad Holmes likes to draft. Don't be surprised if we end up taking him. And I think he's actually going to be at the Senior Bowl. Replying to Facebook user, if it was Torrance, I would solidifies our O-line for years to come. But I think defense is more important, and that brings us to our next. What about Voorhees from USC? Voorhees is good, but he's day 3 talent. If you're going to draft one late, I like that Neil Brokers. No, Torrance will be a first rounder. It's him and Peter Skoronich out of Northwestern are the only two bona fide first round talent on the O-line. And then it's a big drop off. It's not till late second round where your next tackle comes in. So I just, that's what I see. Skoronsky. That's it. Pat or Pete. Is it Pat or Pete? I can't remember. I know it starts with a P. But anyways, Aaron Glenn has had his second interview with the Colts, and they're going to do a third round interviews before they hire somebody. But on Monday, Aaron Glenn travels to Arizona for his second interview, and they don't usually play around. A second interview is where they usually hire somebody. So we could get an extra third round pick this year and next year, and then have to find a defensive coordinator. I haven't seen Broderick Jones listed at all, if that helps you, Keegan. What are the two biggest needs defensively? And I can pretty much sum it up for you. It's defensive interior, in other words, D tackle and cornerback. Do you disagree with that, Dan?
It's hard to disagree with that, but they definitely need a freaking linebacker too, though.
Oh, we do, but I'm saying early in the draft, that should be your focus is defensive tackle and corner.
Well,
that those are the biggest glaring needs I saw.
Yeah, they are pretty big needs there, but as soon as we get one of them in the third and fourth, maybe that kid Tomlinson out of TCU. You know what I'm talking about?
He's probably going to go in the second.
Even so.
This is a very deep corner class. You're right. But I think we could see 12 corners go in the first 2 rounds minimum.
Possibly.
Because you got guys like Clark Phillips out of Utah, Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State. You got the guy that's overrated as fuck, but will probably be a first-round talent, Ringo. You got Joey Porter Jr., who is great, fantastic zone press man monster, but he's kind of got that Glass Joe disease. He misses 3 games a year in college. So if you extend that out, that's going to be an average of 4 games a year. Just saying. You've got the other guy that everybody's talking about that I love, and I think he's the best corner in this draft is Devin Witherspoon. And then you got who's the other guy? Oh, Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. I think he's the second best corner. He has better swerve and hip control and everything else. I love Witherspoon. I've watched a lot of Illinois this year. He's a dog. And He's a former teammate of Kirby's, and he switched from safety to corner.
Well, you know
Versatility.
me, man. I'm a Joey Porter Jr. guy.
I know you are, but I've just started looking at it.
Okay, so this is what I'm thinking here. If you take the interior defensive line early in the first round, there, the first pick, right?
Mm-hmm. That's either going to be Carter or Broussais.
Exactly. That 18, if you don't take your corner right there, you trade that back, get something at the top of the second round, right? Just hear me out here. Then you take Henry Tutu, linebacker from Bama.
Oh, I think Henry Tutu is going to fall. I think he's going to end up in the third round, and that's where I'd take him.
I would take him at the top of 2 personally because I watch that guy play a lot. He's damn good. I don't know why he should fall.
Because he got injured, missed a few games, came back. He also started missing a lot of tackles after he came back, and he also started getting a lot of ticky-tack defensive holding penalties in coverage.
So he went to route him to Kobe Dean.
He went the route of Will Anderson early in the season.
Ooh.
Yeah. Remember how bad Will Anderson was? Because I was mentioning it every week.
Yes. Yes, I do.
There's only so many defensive roster spots. You could get us a dominant right guard swing tech. I know. I understand that. That's Richard. But there's only so many great corners. And I'm going to name you the great ones right off the bat. There's 4. Emmanuel Forbes at 4. Christian Gonzalez at 3. Joey Porter Jr. at 2. Devin Witherspoon.
Yep.
Everybody else is after that, including Keely Ringo. Keely Ringo's a bum. He has no hip swerve. He gets burnt like Eli Apple. The only thing he is a good gambler. You know what he is? He's Trayvon Diggs 2.0.
Diggs.
Yeah, a less talented Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, exactly. Trayvon Diggs actually had a pretty good.
Do you disagree with my top 4 corners, Leonard?
No, not at all, man. Not at all.
And if you're going to take the guy from Michigan, he's a day 3 pick with either one of those 6th rounders. If you decide to forego drafting a QB and waiting for UDFA, which there's going to be some that fall this year, because after you get past the top 4, they fall way down the list. And Hendon Hooker isn't even in the top 4 right now.
He's old as shit.
Yeah, he's already almost as old as Goff, too. Think about that, guys, as a rookie. Most guys come out at 21, 22 years old and hit their prime at 28. He's 25, turning 26.
He's Ryan Tannehill. Or Brendan Weeden.
He's Brandon Weeden. 2 years shy of being Brandon Weeden coming into school, into the NFL.
And he didn't go play baseball.
No.
He don't have that excuse.
So what do you guys think about what I said about the Pro Bowl?
Dude, honestly, I don't give a damn about the entire Pro Bowl outside of Derek Carr's what he said last night was amazing.
Oh, did you see the dodgeball competition yet, Leonard?
No, I didn't watch it yet. I heard Barkley was a beast, though.
Barkley was being a beast, but he went bitch mode. A guy threw the ball, and he moved his head into it and then called him for a headshot.
LeBron.
Yeah, well, you want to know what I thought was funny?
What's that?
Is that he had a bloody nose. That's how hard the linebacker threw it to hit him. As soon as I saw him move over, I was like, ooh, that's got to hurt.
I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Jets saying they're going all in for Aaron Rodgers?
I think it would be a great move, actually. With what they have in the wide receiver room and that O-line and that defense, all they're missing is a QB. I think it's a great move. You know why? We know why else I think it's a great move. Gets them out of the fucking NFC. Period.
Yeah.
Come on.
Jets fans are annoying as shit already, though, man. Give them a quarterback.
Yeah. Give them a quarterback, and they're going to be loud and proud. Richard Head said the Pro Bowl was interesting. I'm talking O-line in the second. First round should be defense strictly. Preferably Wilson, Porter Jr., or Brian Branch. Brian Branch has been sliding. He's not even considered first-round talent anymore.
Yo, we got to talk draft and get Cook on one night.
I know. I'm going to do a Saturday show with him. He's just got to get the night off. He's been helping a pit crew that's getting ready for the spring season to start up, and they work on Saturday night. So I'm going to do once a month. I want to do the Saturday college talk show.
Yeah, that would mess with me 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning with freaking stats and sizes.
I know. He does the same thing to me, and I'm like, dude, I'm sleeping.
He knows I don't sleep, though, so we freaking go back and forth. But I'm like, dude, like, where the fuck do you find some of these people?
And yes, if you're watching, please remember on YouTube, go and like the video. Share it with your all your Detroit Lions fan groups. And if you got to email it to your fans, copy the link, email it to them, let them watch the show. Try to get me more subscribers. I'm trying to make that push. I'm still sitting at 213 subscribers. I don't know what's going on. There's a couple of people that said it's literally unsubscribed them because they haven't watched for a couple of weeks. So if you know somebody that was watching and making comments and they're not anymore, send them the link. Tell them to check and see if they're still subscribed. That being said, Dan, talk about your Giants for a minute. Well, what the hell? Let's make this a Lions-Giants show tonight.
If Jalen Carter falls to 4 or 5, would you consider trading up? Absolutely.
Yes.
I would package the freaking both first rounders, move up that little bit to grab him because he's going to be that kind of a difference maker.
Hey, Coach Campbell comes in. What's up, guys? Sitting back, knocking off a 24-pack of Coors Light and eating pork rinds. Good for you, Dan.
I'm sorry, man. I saw that. I was like, yeah, dude, Jalen Carter is a beast.
He is a beast. Here's an interesting thought. Bears need a lot. Yes, they got a lot of cap room. They can go for a lot of shit. But what if they make this move? They trade back to 4 with Indy. So Indy can get their quarterback. They got their choice of Young or Stroud then, right?
Yep.
Then, let's say, I've heard they're all in on Will Anderson and 50-50 on Jalen Carter, and I'm the exact opposite. They offer that trade up again. Would you give the 6th round pick this year and next year's first to get Jalen Carter at 4?
Okay, wait. So you're giving up what? Your pick this year and your first next year? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
Exactly. And to Dan, how much cap does the only team from New York I like, and I mean all 4 sports, have to spend, and where are you spending it? We were just talking about this prior to the show, James. He has $54 million.
And you were saying that was what, before the thing? It's either 54 or 70 is where we're at in that range.
Yep.
See, that's a hard one for me because, like, we want to re-sign Daniel Jones. We want to. But his market value right now is looking like it's going to be $32 million a year.
And in all actuality, I kind of agree with what Max Kellerman said. I would put that transitional tag on him because if somebody wants to beat that price and they got to give you picks back, that's a win-win.
Absolutely. You can transition tag him, but what's the price on the transition tag for him?
$32.5 million.
Okay, so you tag him with that, then you lock Barkley up with the franchise tag, which would be at $10 million.
Right. The exclusive tag you're talking about, because you only have you only get to use one tag, and you have to choose which one you're using it on.
Do you now? I thought you could use them both. That's a rough one. I think Jones is more important to the team than Barkley. So either way, I'd do whatever I need to do to lock him up. Barkley's a running back. I love Saquon Barkley, but you know what? They're a dime a dozen.
Well, it's funny because moving up one spot One spot costs 2 first-round picks anymore. So 2 spots should cost 2 first-round picks.
Well, all depends. You move up and trade away some second-day picks there. It all depends what the need of that other team is and what your value of your pick is going to be.
Will Vogues comes in and says, Jeremy, hey, what's up, buddy?
Patty Grimes, I agree with you. They need to re-sign Jones. I'd love them to be able to re-sign them both, but I don't want to be hampered for the next 5 years in cap either. We got Leonard Williams, who's willing to take a pay cut. We're cutting Kenny Galladay. There's talk about possibly trading Dory Jackson. But we need interior offensive line. We need some linebackers. And we need corners.
Facts.
Well, we need interior linebackers. Landon Collins, I love the guy and all, but he's not a game changer anymore.
So words similar to us, you need off-ball linebackers.
Yep. I mean, yeah, we have freaking Phibbs and Ojulari who can rush the hell out of people, but they're not the greatest in coverage either.
Who said anything about drafting a corner in the top 10 again? Carter's a defensive tackle.
I'm not sure if I want to draft a corner in the top 10 again either. You know what? It depends. I said they should have drafted one last year at number 2.
You did, and he'd have been worth it. Sauce Gardner. Speaking of which,
exactly.
Did they do the awards last night, or is that next week?
I do not know. I've kind of been a little out there, not paying attention.
But
Sauce,
I think Oh, I love Saika Ika in the second round. I think he's a beast. I almost would trade back with the 18th pick to get an earlier second round pick and a 4th.
JB,
Ian Rappaport, you are an hour behind me announcing that.
Do you know who the defensive tackle is from USC, the late round projection? That, like, massive dude?
Oh, Jordan Addison? Yeah, they had a mock to you. The Giants.
I would take him.
Awards are next week. Okay. I know. I saw a mark where they have us taking the Illinois corner. I've seen that too. And you know what? It's because when all the rankings came out and he won the best corner in NCAA, he won the best corner in Big Ten. He also won, which means he beat out Joey Porter Jr.
That's because they don't like Penn State corners. They only like Penn State linebackers.
No, that's because Penn State corners don't do well for long in the NFL. That's the reason why. But I'm going to digress. He also is a first-team All-American, and he's at the Senior Bowl, and he also is All Big Ten first team.
Hey, JB, that Penn State corner thing, was that a shot at AO?
Yeah.
I thought so.
It absolutely was. And why? Because they line up like press man, but they actually don't play press man a lot.
They drop in the zone. You know what they basically run is a Tampa 2 out there.
Yeah, they run a Tampa 2. And that's why all of them, when they come to the NFL, where there is more man ran than there is in college, they all struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit Lions were we don't need a QB help. I know that's not David Pike because he's like messaging me through another chat.
Wait a minute. Yes, they do. I heard David Pike today say he hated Jared Goff and they needed to draft Anthony Richards, the first pick.
Stop.
I don't care what anybody says. I think Richardson is probably the most physically talented quarterback in the entire draft. And
he's also the most raw at the same time.
Exactly. In my mind,
can be coached out of him. I say if you have the patience to coach him for 3 years, he could be something special.
Like no lie, if we can't re-sign Daniel Jones, I would be fine picking him up and letting him sit for a year or two behind some bullshit and develop.
In other words, go from a playoff team to tanking for top 10 pick again?
We get a top 10 pick next year. I say trade away the house to get Caleb Williams, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Don't mortgage the future, but moving up one spot costs one team how much? Where do I think Richardson falls? I think he falls just outside the top 10, like 11 to 16.
Malik Willis. No. Absolutely not, Mr. Richard Head.
I've said it all season. He's Malik Willis with a good team.
He wasn't with a good team, though, man. He was with the fifth-string wide receivers. All his wide receivers were hurt all year. And unlike Willis, Anthony Richardson is goddamn accurate on their own.
That may be, but guess what his overall completion percentage was for the entire season?
It was like 56% or some shit like that, right?
Yeah. Guess what? That's lower than Malik Willis. And he had a better roster. Liberty. I don't care. He had a better roster.
Liberty.
He had a better class of wide receivers.
He played against better talent, too.
I don't care. That's not what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but no, it can't be compared apples to apples, though, is what I'm saying to that. Because Liberty is one thing, Florida State and what they play against is completely different. Liberty is where you go when you're a bitch you can't handle at Auburn. When you can't beat out Bo Nix. Did you freeze?
No, I'm reading comments. Fake Rico Beard's in here again. And he says Malik Willis is better than Goff. In what wet dream are you having? I'm not wrong.
Better at what?
Better at throwing interceptions. Better at missing targets.
He's faster than Goff. Give him that.
That's about it. I'll give him that. He is more athletic.
I overcooked my bagel bites.
And I don't want O'Connell either. I'm sorry, James Burgess.
Oh.
Sorry, not sorry. Fine, Leonard Richardson is this year's Trey Lance. Yeah, that's probably closer.
That is probably closer. And you know what? I'm really not completely out on Trey Lance yet either.
Oh, I am.
I think we're going to see him next year because Purdy tore his UCL completely. He needs to go get Tommy John surgery.
Rico, don't waste your time explaining to Lions fans. Explaining white, Mike Valenti. I just listened to you earlier talking with Rico. Both of you said things are looking up in Detroit. So I know you're fake.
He can run a timing offense. Yeah, but there are areas that he's okay at. I'm not going to say he's complete dog shit, but you can't completely build an offense like that in the NFL where defenses you just say, okay, this is what they're going to do. You need to be able to adapt on the move there and have multiple aspects to your freaking game plan. More like Alec Dills. He's the best player at best. He's still trash. Wow.
I love Keegan. It was just radio talk. No, because when you've had bad things to say about the Lions, you've said them.
Are you fucking
and
serious?
You haven't. Yeah, Valenti.
No. I just got a.
Yes, I've seen Caleb Murphy from Ferris State, and that is somebody I would love to get in the later rounds. 100%.
I just got an update, came across my phone. Kyler Murray is a Laker now. I'm not Kyler Murray. Kyrie Irving. Fuck Kyler Murray. It was a little tiny drawing on the thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving's a Laker. Who'd they give up? Russell Westbrook and somebody else?
I don't know. I bet
John Harris. Joe Harris. That's who they gave up. Yeah.
That one kind of hurts. Russell Westbrook, man.
Good riddance.
He is Dak Prescott of basketball. He can put up points when it don't fucking matter. Didn't the Lakers just get Rui Hachimura or whatever?
Who?
Rui Hachimura or whatever the fuck his name is. He was drafted by the Washington Wizards a few years back. The big dude that's got like that Asian back heritage or whatever.
I don't remember.
I don't pay enough attention to that. I
Yeah.
like hockey way more. Hockey makes sense. Brad Holmes loves touring, so that could happen.
Oh, I think it's funny that everybody's complaining about all you guys. Brad Holmes loved Torrance, so that could happen. I see it too. That being said, I love how we got these guys come in doing their fake hater stuff or their actual hater stuff. It's fun. I love it. But I know it's 90% of them when it says Dan Campbell, Mike Valenti, Rico Beard, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, Jared Goff. Derek Carr is an interesting situation. The Raiders made it be known by benching him the last game that they didn't want anything to do with him anymore. And he has a player option in his contract this year. So literally, he could say, hey, what are you guys doing? And they could say, oh, we don't know yet. And he can say, fine, I'm not signing my player option.
Mm-hmm.
And he becomes a free agent. What teams are going to want to trade for him? Knowing this. That's a legit question. Think about it. What teams are going to want to trade for Derek Carr when they can just wait 3 days past that initial re-signing period and he's a free agent?
No. I believe that they have to pay him a bonus or some bullshit. I think he signed his thing, but they have to pay him by the 15th. They have to trade him or pay him. Is the way it works, the 15th of February. But I believe he has a no trade clause in his contract.
Yep. Hey, there is no such thing. Derek Carr, I could see him possibly going to a team that has a system that occasionally allows somebody to throw a deep ball because he actually is decent at it. If they had the receivers that were fast enough other than the guy that can't catch a ball, I would say New England would be good. But I think Richard had said the right one. New Orleans. He would be head and shoulders above everybody there. Not only in height, but in QB status.
New Orleans.
Texans.
Houston. Yep. Hear me out on this one. The Seahawks.
Nah, his game doesn't fit what they do.
Throw the ball deep to DK. Hand the ball off to a fucking power back. Same thing.
How often did he target Devontae Adams deep? Good point, right?
You're not
90% of the time it was a 10 to 18 yard pass, and Devontae Adams made it happen after the catch.
You're not wrong.
So New Orleans with Slant Boy would be great. Carr to the Colts. Well, he's not over 30, so I say no. I think that's where Tom Brady lands when he comes out of his fake retirement.
Carr to the Colts wouldn't be bad either, though.
Come on now. That was funny. I don't care what you say.
Yes.
That's awesome, James. +1.
I don't think because of that contract he freaking.
Yep. He just signed that big contract. But it is a player option. He can opt out, and they don't have to pay him shit, and he can just walk. P.S. Yes, it was funny, Jeremy. No, I got the over-under on the day after roster signing bonuses are issued for when Tom Brady comes back. Because I think he's going to go home, and he's now divorced. So when he sees the kids, it's going to be, well, Mom lets us do it. Well, Mom lets us do it. And he's say, fuck these kids. I'm going back to the NFL. Carr can go to the Saints, commies, Indy, or fail cunts. I actually think they're going to give Ritter his chance to start the whole season this year.
Maybe.
Bill, it's that time of the night when I got to talk about paying my bills, which means I need to talk about my sponsors. A1 Tire and Auto Repair and TNT Auto Sales on Old Caucalan in Caucalan. Great used cars and tires at a great price, and great prices on new tires as well. Stop in and see us. We also have our location on Broadway in Bay City and the location on Genesee in Saginaw. Stop in. You never know which one I'm at. I don't even know anymore till the morning I go to work. That's how bad it is. Because I get a call at sometimes 7 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I need you in Saginaw. Hey, you're going to Caucalan. Hey, you're going to Broadway. Okay, boss. It has happened. And the other one is Dan Leonard's love child, Mad Lab Custom Creations, where if you want something painted where it looks unique and different, you can go and even design your own logo if you want. Ask him. He'll help you. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And he will do that for you, but he also does breaks from time to time where you get a chance to get some pretty cool stuff signed by great players.
I got another Barry coming in this week.
You got another what?
Barry Sanders coming in this week.
Ooh.
I got something fun planned for that one. I'll show you.
If it pays better than what I make now, James, I'm in. 6 a.m. Traverse City. Do I think Brady unretires again? Yes, I have it at 70-30. But make sure you go check out Mad Lab Custom Creations on Facebook. It's a group. I'm quite sure if you say, hey, I'm from watching Jeremy's podcast, he'll let you in. Seeing how he's a sponsor and all.
Absolutely.
Well, what are your parting shots about your Giants there, Leonard?
That they overperformed this year. I'm so glad we did because, sucking since 2011, a little rough. But we got a good coach, a decent GM. I think they're on the upswing here.
James Burgess asks you a question. He says, "Hey, this to Dan. What's your dream first 2 picks for the New York Giants? You guys are getting pretty damn close."
Honestly, man, I don't know. I like Joey Porter Jr. because we need a corner. But I think we need all 3 interior offensive line more. Every mock I've seen so far has got us taking that wide receiver out of Tennessee because, as everybody knows, that was a big need for us.
Cedric Tillman?
Yeah. Honestly, I completely trade away my first-round pick this year and get something next year. There's nobody outside of, the top 5-6 players in this draft to jump out to me and say, I need this guy. He's going to fix my team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's a good take. I think you guys would be foolish if Cedric Tillman or Joshua Addison is there at your pick to pass on him. To Dan, I think you guys need Torrance more than Detroit. Danny Dimes could use another bodyguard.
You're not wrong.
But at the same time, doesn't matter how long somebody's blocking if he doesn't have anybody to throw to.
Exactly.
That's why I think they'd be better off to fix the interior O-line through free agency.
Worth a damn in my mind right now. That's going to be on the interior. There's a couple tackles out there that are looking pretty good this year, like Orlando Brown Jr. is out there.
The one I mentioned from Northwestern.
Yeah, but
Skoronski.
There's not a lot through the draft. Freaking Torrance, yeah, he makes sense. I wouldn't say no to taking him there.
But if Addison or Tillman's there, that almost makes more sense than the guard.
Unless they could go out and get a guy like Jamal Dean or Murphy Bunting in free agency to play quarter.
Is there anybody in free agency at guard or center that's any good?
Matt Paradise, center.
Oh, Matt Paredes? Yeah, he's great.
Him. I don't know how we feel about center, though. Like, yeah, Feliciano went out hurt. We had Nick Gates come back and played pretty good coming back from that kind of life-threatening injury he had.
Alls I know is that if you guys want me to show up in those areas, I need some money in PayPal to cover the gas first. I'll email the link later. Just shoot me your email. Because I know Monroe's at the south side of the state. Traverse City's on the very upper west part of the lower peninsula. That's going polar opposites. That's going from here to here in a day. Nah, ain't gonna happen. Especially not in an hour. Well, I'm going to end the show the same way I always do. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. Because guess what? That's the only way to make the world a better place. Mm-hmm. Is there a position I think the Lions should wait for in the draft? Believe it or not, it's QB. There's some guys that are not even listed that are entering this draft. They're not even listed on any of those mock drafts anywhere. And I think they should wait and possibly take them as a UDFA, maybe I don't think we should get a vet as a backup because they're expensive. Remember Chase Daniels?
Oh, that guy had the best backup career of any quarterback in history.
Until he played for Detroit.
Oh, no. I don't even care about that. I mean, just the money he made to be a backup quarterback.
James Verza says, to one and all, go Lions and take Jeremy's closer to heart. Thank you. This has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. Have a great evening. And don't forget,